aka Mr. B the Bank. Y'all can't see it on my, you can see it right there, Mr. B the Bank. Okay. AKA Thanos, aka I'm that guy, whatever you want to call me. That's definitely what I am. I am what the people call me. And y'all know one of my biggest things, especially talking about the Back End Warrior podcast and the Back End podcast, is just something very simple. My job is solely to bring you immense value while exposing you to how things really work. I think there needs to be a balance because a lot of stuff that we see online and you see a lot of it, you begin to start thinking that it's the truth. And we want to get to the back end of things. Why do things function the way that they do? Why do things operate the way they do? Dr. Ness said, "What's up? Peace, cousin Jake. Peace, peace." Why do things operate the way that they do? So that we can understand why people messing with us, and we can not be taken advantage of. So today's topic, there's no sound. What you mean sound? Wait a minute. Somebody said the sound is off. I can't never get this podcast thing together. Y'all can hear me on IG, right? YouTube, Facebook, y'all can hear me, right? Y'all said the sound. I did right this time. I turned it on and everything. Okay, good. So, when it comes to the concept of private banking, what I want everyone to understand is that private banking is not a product. Hear me clear. You hear so many people online, especially insurance agents, that tell you that private banking is about a product. And a lot of you get sold them IULs, right? Index Universal Life, all the upside, none of the bad side. They don't tell you about the rest of the bad side. I'm truly a person who truly believes that if you're going to be selling any product, that client should know right, wrong, or indifferent, all of the pros and the cons of that product and why and how it should function the way that it should. I think it's very important that we understand that. And so what I'm beginning to realize is that there's a lot of agents that, I've been knowing that don't understand this concept. So the narrative that's being pushed online is that you can become the bank just by getting a policy. How many of you all press the number one? You've heard that? And then press the number two if something inside of you felt like, man, this just don't sound like it's supposed to be that easy. Press the number one if you heard all you got to do to be the bank is get a policy. And press the number two if something inside of you felt like, man, this just don't sound right. Something about this sounds a little bit off. And, it's not working with me. It's not flowing with me. Okay. And it's funny, y'all, because there are agents that watch me live and they say the same thing. I knew it had to be something more than just a policy. And one of the biggest things that y'all have to understand is that the founder of the concept of private banking or infinite banking emphatically suggested and trained and taught on a regular basis that the concept of infinite and private banking is not only about the product or the policy. Yet there's a lot of quote-unquote faithful followers online that have never studied the actual creator of the concept and why it is the way that it is. Because most insurance agents, they get into the industry. Private banking is a good marketing ploy because everyone's now talking about it. And it's an easier way to sell the product that they call an IUL. And we will talk about that here shortly. Okay? But I want you to understand that Dr. Jake is trying to get you to see that private banking is a process. It is an overarching concept that the policy adds value to. Because the concept of private banking actually supersedes even the thought of an insurance reserve. But we'll talk about the needs and the purposes of all of these things as we get to it. I think it's very important that we understand this. So before we talk about the 4 elements of private banking, what I want us to pay attention to is you have to be careful when you're dealing with agents or people that teach IUL or teach private banking or infinite banking is only to purchase a product. Be careful. Because private banking, I'm going to go to the board, private banking in itself is about 4 key elements. What I want y'all to do right now, I want you to screenshot this or write it down. Write down the 4 key elements. Private banking has a lot to do with extending the lifetime of your dollars and extending your ability to couple or duplicate your cash flow. So the 4 elements of private banking is about surplus cash flow reserve, cash flow investment strategies, and then legacy focused moves. These are the 4 elements of private banking. So if you are in private banking and legacy is not a part of your construct or your mindset, you're not going to understand the reasoning and the purpose of private banking. Because another reason why they talk about putting it inside an insurance policy is to hedge against the risk that you as the entrepreneur are taking every day, to guarantee that your children and your legacy get what you're sacrificing for. It's a hedge against your risk. Press the number 1 if y'all are picking up what I'm putting down. So we're going to talk about a couple of these elements first, especially as we talk about the 4 elements of private banking. Especially when we talk about the 4 elements of private banking. So when you talk about a bank, okay, when you talk about a bank in general, so I want to write this down. When you talk about a bank in general, when you talk about a bank, okay, this bank, the bank's function the bank's focus is not on accumulation. I don't know if I spelled that right, but y'all get what I'm saying. It's not on accumulation. The purpose of the real bank is not about accumulation. It's not about accumulation, folks. It's about cash flow. Cash flow says what goes out must come back with more than it came out with, that it left with. So when y'all think, everyone is being taught the accumulation game, first and foremost. If I just save my money, I just store my money, I just want to keep everything in one certain place, so I'm accumulating my wealth. I'm putting it in my own personal house. It's not generating cash flow. The concept of private banking was not created so that you can go and purchase your cars and stuff like that of personal use. Although it is possible that you can, that is not the reason for private banking. The purpose for private banking or infinite banking was so that there could be some type of reserve that can keep the money moving on behalf of the account. So let's talk about banks in general. Banks actually, when they take your money, their number one objective is to get your money out of your hands, because you don't know how to protect it yourself. You don't know how to keep it away from people that's going to be stealing from you. You prefer that your money stay with the bank. That's how they're thinking. The whole purpose of the bank being created was to separate people from their money and protect their wealth, because you couldn't walk around with gold and silver and stuff like that every day. So they created an IOU system that said, hey, I got 100 pounds of gold. Well, here's an IOU tickets that are able to verify that you have these golds. So you didn't have to run around with it. But what the banks began to realize was they just became a storage for these other people's items. And they wanted to figure out a way not to accumulate a bunch of stuff that you cannot actually go out there and maneuver. It's to generate a cash flow from what you currently have inside of your midst. So as people put their stuff in the bank, they begin to start lending out against the stuff they had in the bank. That's the concept of private banking. So when I understand the construct of private banking, now I can say, you know what? That makes sense. Why would I use my private bank for personal things only to be in debt to myself? That's not the purpose of private banking. So what do the banks do? The bank's overall focus is to get your money out of the bank as fast as possible into the hands of the world. And they invest in land to opportunities that fix their chances of getting their money back plus interest in a much more calculated way. Because whether you believe it or not, well-ran banks don't lose money. So they lended money out to the world. They prefer collateralized lending. So if anything happened, they can get the money back and make sure that it's available for you when you need it. That's the function of the bank. So the bank is nothing but a reserve. Can y'all not see that? It's a reserve that operates like a business so that it can get money back, and then it moves that money to generate cash flow from the money it lent out so that it can continue to function as a business and continue to grow their money in a reserve. Press the number 1 if you're picking up what I put down. So this is why I tell people F the bank. Not only because of the historical ramifications of the bank completely leveraging off of slavery. This is just a fact. No matter what color you are, I don't care. This is a fact of banking. You got to understand the facts to be able to guide people the right way. Not only do I tell people F the bank because of that, but I'm telling you to F the bank because there is no other function or reason why you should have your money inside of a bank other than for transactions. Other than for transactions. Outside of that, you need a plan. And let me tell y'all something that's really beautiful about the bank. The moment that you give your money to the bank, they consider your money a liability. The moment they lend your money out, they consider that an asset. So they're trying to get the money away from you so they can be able to leverage it out to make more money. So when I tell people you can be the bank, I'm not talking to y'all, and a lot of y'all are getting this context from these insurance agents telling you that being the bank is just the policy. If that's the case, then the bank would never be the bank. The money has to move out of the reserve in order for you to start banking. So the construct of banking is this full process, not just where the money is being reserved. I really do hope that a lot of y'all are getting this understanding as I continue to break it down so that you can see that a lot of y'all are being bamboozled. I see some people saying, Jake, my insurance agent told me that if I do $100 a month, I can borrow against it. No, $100 a month, that's nothing. No offense. That's not enough. Yes, you get your family covered, but I'd rather you get your family covered with cheap insurance and then work on your high income earning skills to raise and grow more money so you can actually practice banking. But you cannot practice banking But you cannot practice banking if you're limited on income. Riddler said this makes a lot more sense than what I was taught, because the people that's teaching this, Riddler, don't practice private banking. They just sell it for the product. So when it comes to this concept of private banking, you got to understand the first order of banking is business. Put this in the chat. The first order of banking is business. Somebody put that in the chat. Somebody says, so IUL is private banking? No, hang tight. No, IUL is not private banking. The first order of banking is business. Put that in the chat. First order of banking is business. Now, when I talk about the first order of banking being business, I mean the bank cannot bank without doing business. Literally. Y'all, if you understand the construct of banking, and I know some of us don't because we've been being bamboozled online, but banks cannot take, so say we all started a bank together and we put our money in the reserve for the bank. By charter laws, we cannot use our own money to start banking. We can only use the new money that comes in from a client. So we must commercialize our reserve or our banking institution. We must be commercial. What's commercial? To exchange services or products in exchange for money so that we can what? Take that money and grow it. So when it comes to private banking, the first concept I want y'all to understand is the importance of surplus and cash flow. And a lot of us are asset rich, job rich, self-employed rich, and cash flow poor. This is going to disqualify you for private banking. Can anyone tell me why this is important to understand? Can anyone tell me why this is important for us to understand? Why is that important for us to understand? Just because you make a lot of money here, or a lot of money here, or a lot of money here, or a little money here, that doesn't help you with the cash flow that you need for banking. Because guess what? If you start a banking policy and you cannot keep it up, guess what's happening? Guess what's happening? You're actually going to be wasting time and wasting money. That's right. You need your money to move, aka currency. We're going to be talking about that, I believe, a little bit later. So what you got to understand is, in order for you, Ron, what's going on? I called you, bro. What you got to understand is that the whole purpose of banking, this concept of private banking, is not for the policy alone. It starts with the cash flow, the surplus cash flow that you can produce. So if you do not have a high income earning job or skill set, you're not going to have the best chance of becoming your own bank. And unfortunately, Dr. Jacobs is going to tell you the truth, okay? Dr. Jacobs is just going to tell y'all the truth, because a lot of us just have never heard the truth like this before. Some of y'all lack skills. Some of y'all lack skills. And what I mean by lack skills, I mean that they're needed in today's day and age, and it's considered a high income earning skill. Bloomware said, I just realized these private banking gurus be scamming people. Oh yeah, that's why I came back. Y'all, I thought it was a year. I took about 2 years off the industry. I brought this information to the culture. Then I started seeing a whole bunch of people lying on the internet talking about private banking, private bank that. And I'm like, wait a minute. Especially if y'all putting clients in IULs. So business says, how can I develop a skill set, or how can I create a product that would deem needed by the market, therefore allowing for me to make more money? Some of us blame our jobs for not making enough money, but the truth is you just don't have the skill set needed. I know what y'all saying. Well, Jake, I got the skill set. I can do this, and that. If your job can replace you, you don't have the skill set yet. Uh-oh. And the scripture says that your gift will make room for you. That's what scripture says. It says your gift will make room for you. That means no matter if you're working in a business or working on your business, your skill set, your gift, whatever it is, should make room for you so that you can be able to take care of your family in the way that you should. And let me give y'all a fun fact. There are more millionaires. This is a fun fact. There are more net worth millionaires that work jobs than there are entrepreneurs that are. There are more six-figure earners in the job force, the career force, than there are entrepreneurs. So when I tell you to develop a skill set that can increase your ability to make money, this is what I'm talking about. A skill set. So first you need a high income earning skill set, which means your cash flow, your cash should be being used to invest in information, knowledge, or training to develop new skills that are needed today. Would y'all like for me to name some skill sets that will be considered valuable today? Would y'all like for me to name some skill sets? I don't mind naming some. Y'all, this is a live show, so I don't care about being perfect. I care about being right. Would y'all like for me to name some skill sets? Here are some skill sets that are needed today in this day and age. Remember, if somebody can replace you in what you do, that is not a high income earning skill set. Here are some skill sets that you can learn that will allow for you to be successful. Master product development, system development. Get somebody that's really good at operations. Service development, somebody that's really good at developing exceptional services, not Dollar General services. Not Dollar General services. Not I can do all things. What you need me to do. We talking about something that you are absolutely known for. I'm talking about it got to be so good that if you wanted to try a different endeavor, people would not. They don't want you to. Y'all remember? Like I took almost 2 years off from private banking But there are so many people that wanted me to come back and start teaching it again. No matter how successful I was in no other industry, they wanted me back in private banking because they know I'm the best that ever was at teaching it. This is a fact. That's what I'm talking about, a high income skill set. When you're so good that people will literally wait for months just to work with you. If you don't have that thing yet, you got to keep working. You can be a recruiter. Here's a skill set. Learning how to develop a team. That's important. You learning marketing, advertisement, Facebook advertisement, social media advertising, becoming a media buyer and becoming good at that skill set. That's a need in the marketplace. Learning how to build websites, funnels, landing pages, whether you know how to code or not, using technology like backend.io, where you can build your entire automating system in one platform, learning how to master that, and then using that as a service to provide to companies, to brands, or such. Getting good at communication, that you're great at sales, and you can actually close deals, big deals, for big clients, customers, and businesses. Technology integration, understanding technology, and being somebody that can be considered a consult or expert at different SaaS products and technologies for businesses. Copywriting, having the ability to write, creating blogs and creating content for businesses and brands. Social media, being able to manage social media. Understanding the importance and the leveraging of social media and how to grow pages from scratch or get attention to these pages so that it can turn into a cash cow online for these brands. Learning how to create compensation structures. Learning how to look over accounting for these businesses. Brand development. Learning how to read the analysis of revenue and metrics. These are skill sets that are needed. Teresa Weaver said, "Thanks for coming back, Dr. Jake. I've been looking for you. I'm back." Y'all, these are skill sets that are needed in today's day and age. If you do not have certain of these skill sets, you will miss opportunities to generate good cash flow. These are not all, but these are basic skill sets. Y'all got it? So, having a high income skill, the next skill that you must master to surplus cash flow is discipline with money. Because the more money you make, we tend to always do what, y'all? We increase our lifestyle with the money that we make. So you cannot listen. Here's the crazy thing. Cheryl said, "I'm glad you back too." Me too. Cause I'm about to Thanos the industry. Y'all know what I mean. I come to put a whole bunch of pressure. I come to make people quit in the industry. Dr. Jake is back to make agencies, companies, agents quit. You either gonna quit or join Team Thanos. So when it comes to that, right? How can you be the bank if you lack discipline? Have y'all noticed that the majority of us don't even know who own the banks? Who own the banks? We don't even know. Think about that. Who own the banks? We don't even know. So they don't have to walk around and stunt on anybody because there's nobody to stunt for because they built a business that doesn't need their face to sell something. And most banks are owned by families. So they ain't got to stunt for the gram. Y'all see what I'm saying? So a lot of us are trying to be banks, but we have no discipline here. Because the concept of becoming the bank is to start building infrastructures that you can hide behind where nobody know what you got. But your cash flow and money's always moving. Somebody's like, yo, I just want to make $1 million. No, I don't want to make $1 million. I just rather build cash flow that can cover a certain amount of money I need in revenue a month. Call it cash, call it, I don't want accumulation of all my money in one pot. I want cash flow to come in regularly. So if you lack discipline and high income skill, you should not be trying to practice banking. But these agents won't tell you that, will they? They'll tell you this. They'll say, you know, if the wealthy people are doing it, you should be doing it too. The wealthy people are hiding this from you and it's stopping you from wealth. No. I used to say that when I was a novice in this learning this information. That's not true. The reason why you don't know how to do this is because we don't have, I'm going to put us in there, we don't have the discipline to live low so we can cash flow tomorrow. We got to learn how to live low so we can cash flow. Surplus cash flow is absolutely important. Surplus cash flow is important for the concept of banking. If you don't have a surplus, you should not be banking. Does that make sense? Cash flow, discipline. So that means that if we have what's up with it? So that means that if we have extra cash flow, William Marshall said, what's the difference between private banking and an IUL? Everything. You can go watch my video I made like 2 or 3 days ago, absolutely destroying IULs for private or infinite banking. IULs were never created to be the banking reserve. I'm going to talk about that in a second. It's coming. So first of all, you got to understand, if you don't have this should be your focus. Which is why with our firm, we create programs that teach you how to get this. Most of the agents out here can never teach you how to do this because they don't have the high income skill themselves. So for our clients that are not yet ready, we get you ready through time so that when it's your time to be the bank, you're actually ready to be the bank, not just doing it because you feel like you're missing something. Being the bank is a process, not a product. So once you start to generate extra money, somebody put in the chat, say extra. That's what surplus means. Extra money. Once you start to generate extra money, then you take that money and you move it to do extra things. So the first order was having surplus cash flow. If you don't have this, you need to go back to the drawing board. Number 2 of this banking system, private banking system, infinite banking system, number 2 is about the reserve. Think of the reserve as a warehouse. Damn, I forgot my man's name that talk about that. Gary Gunther. Think of your reserve like a warehouse. What do you typically store in your warehouse? Can anyone tell me? What typically goes in a storage or a warehouse? Can anyone tell me? What typically goes in a storage or a warehouse? Is it the stuff that you need daily? Or is it the extra of the stuff that you have that you may need later? It's called inventory. We all put our extra in warehouses. We put our extra in storages that we're not using at the moment. It's called surplus. So when people are teaching private banking, and you don't have a surplus, if the private bank is the extra reserve, why are they teaching you to put all your money inside a reserve when you need that money today because it's not excess? You need it. Private banking starts with extra, your surplus. Then after your surplus is built up over time, then you can start running your cash flow through it on a regular basis. But it is a process. Going back to the board. So if the first part of this is your business, whatever your business is, if you work a career or a job, that's your business at the moment. Y'all stop treating these jobs and these careers that like it's not business. You go in there and just doing a job and wondering why you not making more money. You got to develop skill sets that make them have to pay you. So the first order of banking is business. I go make money from giving a customer a service, a product, or a system. I give them my service in exchange for their money. I keep in the business what is needed. And only the extra surplus that I'm not going to need or touch goes into my money warehouse. This is money that I want to operate with or without me. Are y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Hope y'all are picking up what I'm putting down. Okay, this money warehouse is the protection in your hedge against risk. Your hedge against risk. Well, Jake, what is a hedge? Jake, what is a hedge? Let's go to class. Let's look at the screen. A hedge is an investment position intended to offset potential losses or gains that may be incurred by a companion investment. I don't want to pretend y'all know any words. We're gonna learn today. Because this is why a lot of us are being taken advantage of. People use these big old words and you feel uncomfortable. We're gonna go to Google and figure out what the definition of these words are, so that we understand how not to be taken advantage of. So now let's go back. So a hedge by definition, y'all, what did it say? A hedge is the investment position intended to offset potential losses. So let me ask you this question. If my warehouse is my hedge, do I want any risk involved with my hedge? I'm asking a question. If my warehouse is safety for my money as a hedge against my investments or my mistakes that I may make in business, do I want risk in my hedge? The Realer Group said no. Cheryl said no. That boy on IG said no. Dr. Ness said no. That defeats the purpose of the hedge. Exactly. So why, oh why, are these agents online telling us to use IULs as the hedge for your already risky money? I'm breaking down private banking without using any insurance terms but an IUL. I've already went over with y'all the risks of an IUL. Let's just go back over a couple of few. They tell you to put your money in an IUL, which is an indexed universal life product, and it says it's indexed to the market. So some of them have a 7% ceiling, 7 to 8% ceiling, with a 0% floor, which means your money can grow up and down up in this area based on the options that the insurance company plays in the market. What they did not tell you is that by the time all of these variable fees actually eat your policy, they'll show 7% that you made, but they're not going to include the variable fees showing that you probably only did 3.3% that year. So not only are you supposed to be putting your surplus somewhere to protect you against the risk of the world, they're selling you products that add risk to your protection. Y'all, there are lawsuits active right now against these insurance firms and agents that sell products in a way that do not fit what's actually going on in that product. And one of the bullest, which just means one of the most successful runs in the market to date in American history, there is not one IUL that outperformed what it was projected to do in one of the best markets in the world. See, that's scary. That's scary. So why would I practice private banking and risk what I'm private banking? You want your reserve to protect you from water, protect you from danger, keep your products healthy, and keep your surplus good and fresh, right? So you want your money inside of a reserve that gives you guarantees, and you know the cost fixtures, you know what there's no variable fees, you know you get what you got. So the construct of having the IUL as your private banking absolutely kills the fact of you hedging against risk. Person number one, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. So when they telling you all you need is a private bank and then you the bank, no, it's more than that, y'all. So I don't want risk involved in my bank. And so do y'all. Y'all said, no, Jake, I don't want risk. I want guarantees. This is why when we deal with a surplus, I want to have my cash be able to grow in value, but I do not want it to be risked in this already risky world that I am living in. So, why do I choose a dividend paying whole life policy for banking? Because you have what's called fixed fees. You get what you get. You get a guaranteed 3.75% or 4% every year depending on the interest rate. Plus, you get maybe 2 to 4% potentially in dividends that you get to participate with the profitability of the insurance company based on the cost of insurances. So you're going to make anywhere from 4 to 6% every year on your money guaranteed. So that's why we use the policy of dividend paying whole life as a hedge against risk. If I know for a fact I'm going to get 3.75 to 6% guaranteed every year, that means that I don't have to risk my surplus capital with anything that I cannot get over what I'm already promised in my policy. Not only that, because it's a hedge against risk. Now I'm saying, okay, now I got a death benefit. So if something were to happen to my business or myself before I'm able to actually pass it down to my children, they're going to get cashed out their policy so that it can be able to pay to keep the business flowing, keep the legacy going. But agents don't want to take the time and teach this because it takes more time to educate people than it does to sell people. Let me ask you a question. When it comes to your reserve, where you're storing your surplus, would you like guarantees or non-guarantees? What would you like? Put it in the chat. Would you like guarantees or non-guarantees in a place that's storing your surplus? Eagle Vision said guarantees. Absolutely. Dr. Ness said guarantees. Corinne on IG said guarantees. Lady Millionaire said guarantees. See, when I present you all, not with hype, but with simple logic and the concept of banking, it's going to be easy for you to realize that 99% of the people on social media capping, they lying. They snaky salesmen that if you were given both scenarios, you would make a decision that best fits and suits the purpose of your surplus. Now, let me ask you a question. Now, is it safe to say that you, as the business owner or the professional that has surplus supplies, is it safe to say that you know that as long as your product or your surplus is inside the warehouse, it's probably not going to make money until you take it out and you put it back on the shelf? Is it safe to say that? That if you owned a business and your warehouse held all your extra storage, you know that it's not going to make money in the warehouse. It got to be on the shelves, right? The same thing that if you had surplus cash, you know that as it's in the warehouse, it's not going to make that much more money, right? You know you got to take it out the warehouse, put it back on the shelf so that it can generate you some money. But while it's surplus, you're just going to keep it over there. But if I want to make money from it, I must take it out the warehouse with a plan to execute. Ooh, y'all ain't never heard nobody teach private banking like me. Nobody. So much swag and confidence. So this is why, when it comes to private banking, this is probably after, depending on your reserve, after picking your reserve, no, they all are mutually important. But this is the piece no one wants to teach online. Nobody wants to teach this piece online because most of the insurance agents ain't even done this yet. The cash flow investment strategy says, MJ said, you better not leave us again. I'm not going to leave. But I gotta let me help you out, okay? I didn't realize y'all, that's on me. I didn't realize the game needed Dr. Jake that much, okay? So listen, this is why this is the most important piece. MJ said, ain't nobody teaching like this, y'all. That's what MJ said. So listen, they don't want to teach this part. Because your cash flow investment strategy, the cash flow investment strategy is what grows your wealth, not the private bank. Boy, these people online, they'll get to lying. You think that just because you get a private bank, your life change. Oh, I got my own bank. I'm banking now. I'm rich. No, you're not. You just created a perfect reserve to hold your cash until you can figure out how to make it work. So until you actually have a plan of execution, are you going to take that money out and invest it in equipment and technology for your business? Are you going to take that money out and go out and buy out some of your competitors? Are you going to take that money out and then leverage against it so that you can invest it in a strategy to double down and anchor your investment? See, these are the pieces that most people need when it comes to private banking, but we don't have because they clueless. Akil Otto, I absolutely love what you. Akil Otto says the reserve is just a high paying, perfect condition checking account. This is why the banks, y'all, the banks don't put their own money and keep it in their own accounts. They take their money, they invest it in short-term bonds so they can get a guarantee on their money back. They put a lot of money in guaranteed asset protected real estate, which is under 4 units, because it's easier to sell a 4 unit and down than it is to sell an 8 unit and up. So that's why they actually value and will invest in a multifamily home faster than they'll invest in a personal home. Because they believe in the power of cash flow as well. And then they got a large majority of their money. Wachovia has like 30 to 40%. The Wachovia Bank has like 30 and 40% of their insurance reserves, of their cash inside of insurance reserves. Do y'all think that the bank is about to go from being in a risky environment of getting people's money, lending people's money, and to put their money in a reserve that don't offer guarantees? Do y'all think that they about to do that? They're not about to do that. So, what makes the bank function? Their cash flow investment strategy. They lend money out to opportunities that can give them almost a guarantee that they're going to get their money back. Yo, not Mark Zuckerberg. Shoot, I said Mark Zuckerberg like a bit. Warren Buffett said, rule number 1, never lose your money. Rule number 2, don't forget rule number 1. Y'all think the bank's gonna be out here guessing before they lend or invest their money? No, the banks aren't going to be guesstimating the opportunity. They're going to guarantee themselves. That's why when people say, man, the bank just discriminate. No, you have nothing that ensures to the bank that they're going to get their money back. So yes, you are a liability. The more assets that you have, the more access that you actually have to capital. So the banks put themselves in a win-win guarantee. So when you're taking your money out your reserve, the name of the game is not buying crazy frivolous things. The name of the game is, how can I take my money out of my reserve, make a move in the market, protect myself both ways, and put that money back in the reserve. And I'm going to go over that in a second. Lend money. It's a win-win. It's a win-win. So your cash flow investment strategies got to be win-win scenarios for you. And the whole purpose is the bank ain't investing money for accumulation. No, they investing money to get their cash back. They're investing money to get liquid capital back on a regular basis so that money can stay moving, that money can stay duplicating, that money can stay growing. So if you do not have this structure, what you talking about private banking for? If they're not helping you get here. So if you got agents that are teaching you private banking but not showing you the full process, they just salespersons looking to get commission off of you. They don't care about the progression of you as a client as you continue to grow and evolve. Press the number 1 if you're picking up what I'm putting down. The fourth piece to the process of banking is, are you legacy minded? If you are legacy focused, it's easy for you to stay with the concept. It's hard for you to stay disciplined if you don't or if you're not thinking about a legacy. So if you have the concept, 1 second for a second, YouTube and Facebook, everyone that's on Instagram right now, go to my YouTube because I got 1 minute and 50 seconds left on IG. Go to my YouTube, Jake Tayler Jacobs, to get the rest of this class that I'm teaching. I'm going to be wrapping it up here in the next couple of minutes. So go to my YouTube, it's Jake Tayler Jacobs, just like my IG, so you can get the rest of this class. And if not, text BANK to 281-524-3973. BANK to 281-524-3973 to get on the list to get access to the free class that I'm teaching on private banking. Okay, Instagram. I'm gonna finish on YouTube and Facebook. So when this cuts off, that's it. So go to my YouTube. Go to my YouTube IG. Go to my YouTube. I'll finish the class there. All right, so y'all, YouTube, Facebook. So listen, LinkedIn. So listen, when we talk about private banking, somebody said get a number again. It's bank to 281-524-3973. Bam. I'm pinning it. You probably got like 10 seconds left. It's going to cut you off. All right, so look. If you are not legacy focused, you are not going to be a good candidate for private banking. Can anyone tell me why? Can anyone tell me why I would say such a thing? If you are not legacy focused, you will not be able to do well in private banking. Can somebody tell me why? You're absolutely right. Because you're not going to see any benefit of the death benefit that comes with the reserve. You're not going to be disciplined. You will go for the new shiny things. You're going to be it takes time to grow the money. You're going to be easily persuaded. Private banking is a long-term process. That's right, Blue Air. So if you're like, man, I need to make a quick flip. I need to focus on this. I gotta, that's right, Junie. Private banking is a way of life, not simply for the short term. So the only thing that can keep you in your mind of banking is if you absolutely give a damn about your future and your family's future. That's why we don't entertain a lot of customers and a lot of clients. Because you start thinking that private banking is a trend, it's a fad, and you're going to end up losing a lot of money because you're not operating it the right way. Y'all, in truth, I'm going to keep it real with you. It takes about 6 to 10 years, depending on how serious you are, on creating more cash flow between your lifestyle. Depending on how serious you are, this will determine how fast you can actually become truly your own private banking institution. These people selling y'all this dream, you can become a bank in 2 days. That is a lie. It is a fad. You're going to lose your money and have a misrepresentation and a poor understanding of what it takes to become a private bank. Now, is it possible for everyone? Yes, it's possible. But do everyone have the capability of doing it? The answer is no. Being legacy focused is important. Now, yesterday we had over 700 and something people register for our class yesterday. We capped it out at 300. Today I think we're capping out at 300 or 500. I'm unsure. But I am teaching a free class on all of the stuff of private banking from these curriculums that I wrote. See, there's a lot of people in private banking that teach infinite banking that never wrote a curriculum about the concept. We wrote 2 in a little book. So we're actually going to be teaching on this concept for 8 weeks. Yesterday was our first day. After the 3rd class, we're going to be cutting off new people. Okay? After the 3rd class, we're going to be cutting off new people. The class is absolutely free. You can send it to anybody. Anybody can participate in it, okay? Whether you're an agent or not, I don't care. I just want the right information. I just want the right information being displayed. I just want the right information being taught and displayed. I'm gonna get the number up here real quick. Some of y'all like, Jake, how do I pick my reserves? Some of y'all like, Jake, well, what's the function? That's what the 8-week class is about. Teaching y'all the real 281. Oh, it's on my next. My bad. It's right here. Bam. Text bank to 281-524-3973 to get on my text list. If you're already on the list, please don't text it again. But if you're not on the list, text bank. Text bank to 281-524-3973. Today we're going to be talking about understanding where you are financially and how to get that cash flow that you need. Text bank to 281-524-3973 to get on the list. Somebody said, how do I register if I'm from South Africa? You can go here. If you're out the country, go to pbbclass.com. If you're international, go to pbbclass.com. If you're domestic, text bank to 281-524-3973. Okay? Text bank to 281-524-3973. If you're not on the list, we will be sending out communication today because class today is going to be at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Okay, let me see. Okay, Autumn Johnson, I see that you text. So Jamil, I see that you just text. Some of y'all are coming in. Y'all are texting the number. Other than that, I'll see y'all in class because it is free. So let me tell you something. If you thought what I teach, if you think that what I teach in these live podcast sessions that I'm doing with y'all, if y'all think this is something, you can only imagine what our actual teaching curriculum is like, right? You can only imagine. If y'all think what I give on the internet like this is something, imagine what we go through and what we teach you when we have you offline where we can actually give you the game straightforward and how it needs to be given. Okay? So that's what I want you to do. Text that number. Give it again. Bank to 281-524-3973. If you are watching this video past the time of me teaching, you're watching it late, you can still text that number and you will get information that you need in order for you to be able to get access to the information. All right? So, I want y'all to understand private banking is a lifestyle. It is not a concept. It is not a product. It is not a fad. It is not a trend. It is a lifestyle that you must be committed to mastering before you go to the next step, because scripture says never despise small beginnings. And a lot of us are trying to rush to become wealthy. We don't realize that wealth is gained little by little. Proverbs 13:11. Okay, so I love you. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. This is Dr. Tayler Jacobs, aka Mr. Be the Bank. And on another note, industry, y'all can call me Thanos, because I'm coming to absolutely clean up this industry. It's a lot of wicked stuff that's happening, and some of y'all need y'all butt whooped. So I brought the biggest belt that I could ever find, justice and truth. It's going to be whooping y'all behind. So I'm coming to protect our families. I'm sorry that I took, I think, like 2 years off, but just know that I ain't taking off again. We're going to build agents. I've convinced myself that we're going to start recruiting again so we can clean up this industry. And just know, lives are going to be changed. People are going to be changed. But most importantly, you're going to be educated before anybody sells you anything. Okay? And that's it. Lorenzo said, where is the first part? Don't know what you're talking about. But, peace.